Hi everyone, welcome back to the Rapid Revenue Acceleration Made Practical series. This is webinar number 3. We're going to cover specific key steps of rapid revenue acceleration and tie them into the solutions and tools and best practices that we covered in the previous 2 webinars. So this is some of you may be familiar with this. This is what I call the Rapid Revenue Acceleration Flight Plan. And this is a sequence of 16 distinct steps and actually 16 key principles that I've recognized I've used and that clients of mine have used to rapidly accelerate our revenue. Basically what I did is I went back and looked at what I did, what concepts and principles and best practices and what steps I took, and what clients of mine have taken who have created a 6-figure revenue stream in less than 12 months. And I looked at what was common, and that's how I created this infographic. You can get this infographic if you don't have this already by going to the website freedompreneur.com/flight plan PDF, all one word. freedompreneur.com/flight plan PDF. In fact, I will put that in the chat box. So www.freedompreneur. Okay, it's now in the chat box. Okay, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to quickly review the steps to making rapid revenue acceleration a reality for you. What are the steps to take to make this practical? And we're going to, I'm also going to bring Elise on the line, who is part of the Freedompreneur team. And I'll introduce her in a moment, but she's a key part of our getting our stuff done, our important stuff done over here at Freedompreneur. So remember, to make rapid revenue acceleration practical, you must pick rapid revenue acceleration goals that matter. Make them meaningful. And then you break them down, break down your rapid revenue acceleration project and associated tasks into smaller steps. Then you take action on these steps consistently and then surround yourself with support. So I recommended this book, Drawing Solutions, How Visual Goal Setting Will Change Your Life. And that's one of the first steps for you to take, is to set goals that matter. And if you haven't done so already, I highly recommend this book. This creating goals visually will activate a part of your brain that is different than just writing down words. And it will activate your other than conscious mind, both the subconscious and more ideally your superconscious mind, to help you to move forward and take action and produce results that are meaningful to you. With the book, you can get access to this template, and as you recall from the previous webinars, this is what my mind map, or my visual goal setting map, looks like. This was drawn by the author of the book for me. But yours doesn't have to look as pretty. Believe me, when I did this on my own, I had stick figures. But they worked. Okay. Break down your big project into smaller steps and take consistent action. Okay, then surround yourself with support. Okay, so how does this apply to rapid revenue acceleration? Well, if you get out the handout, Rapid Revenue Acceleration Flight Plan, I'm going to take you through a couple of key elements here. Okay, so actually, let me get mine out. Oh, actually, even better. You know what we'll do? We'll both go to the website together. That way I can show you exactly. You'll see what I need you to see. Okay, so freedompreneur.com. And then we've got, oh, that didn't quite work. Flight plan PDF. Okay, that takes you to this page. Then you click on the link. You'll bring it up, or you can download it. You can save and download it. Okay, so the way this works is on this sheet, which is still coming up. Okay, here are the key steps for rapid revenue acceleration. I've broken them up into 4 different sections. Building the launching pad color-coded yellow corresponds to the yellow balls. That's building your foundation for rapid revenue acceleration. And then the next phase is the test launch. So doing testing before you commit everything to your plan and to your approach. And that's the blue balls here. Okay, and then the green balls represent sustained flight, or sorry, liftoff. So that's, once you've done your testing, then you have the maiden liftoff. And then you go into the red ball, which is sustained flight, as in rinse and repeat. Okay, so there are some key concepts for successfully accelerating your revenue. And probably the most important one, I mean, they're all important, but the most critical one, and this is where I start working with my private clients, is clarifying your compelling why. What I've written here is that your compelling why is the deeper motivation and inspiration behind why you are in business. It's why you do the work that you do. It's why you take the risks that you do to be in business for yourself, and it's why you serve the people you serve. Most people don't realize how important this aspect is, being clear about your compelling why, because they think they know it already. But the reason I recommend people starting here is because if you articulate your compelling why and you turn it into something that is a living touchstone for yourself, it will help you to get through the tough times that you inevitably will come across in life and in building your business. Now, the next key concept is destination by design, choosing where you want to go. And this is where visual goal setting is an important exercise for you to actually be able to visualize and visually express where you want to go. Because if you don't know where you want to go, or you're not clear, then any road will do. Next key concept is to uncover hidden assets. So I have people go through an exercise where they find resources, because, my personal experience is that I will overlook and I will take for granted things that I'm really good at. Even if like 10 people tell me I'm good at something, I'll go, yeah, whatever. Everybody else has this too, or they think this way. And the reality is, no, they don't. We're all different. We have a unique blend of gifts and talents and experiences and wisdom. And so we go through an exercise where you can uncover the obvious and the not so obvious things that you're really good at, or that you have experienced in life. Next key concept right here, net talent, focusing on your strengths as opposed to your blockers. There are ways to objectively measure this. I use a profiling system to do so. There are bajillion and a half profiling systems out there. I happen to use one that measures your strengths and your blockers when it comes to your thinking, the power of your thinking, how you make decisions based on the power and focus of your thinking, and how you're likely to take action based on the power and focus of your thinking and how you're wired to make decisions. That way it helps me to help my clients to focus on strengths. Okay, now positioning, this point right here, is really defining your viewpoint in the marketplace. This is you taking a stand and saying, this is what I believe in, this is how I see the world, this is how these are my guiding beliefs and my philosophies, these are my values. A lot of people don't overlook this part when it comes to creating their business platform, and I think it's a colossal mistake, because the material you create here has impact on the quality and the engagement that your marketing message has, and the attractiveness of your marketing message. Here's concept number 6. I recommend setting your pricing based on establishing your fees based on value rather than on hourly or what you learned in coaching school or the going rate or what the market will bear. Next key concept is packaging. So packaging means how you structure, how you deliver value, and how you communicate the value that you provide in the written word, the spoken word, and in visual imagery. Promotion. This is where a lot of people get hung up. I recommend you pick one promotional pathway based on your natural strengths. I don't care if there are gurus out there teaching you how to sell from the stage. If you hate speaking, then find something else that is more natural for you. Now, I'm not saying you can't overcome your fear or allergy to speaking. I'm just saying that do something right now that you can do. Later on, you can overcome your fear and develop becoming a good speaker. Okay. I should change this and say, select a promotional pathway based on your natural strengths that are immediately available. Okay. Concept number 9, systemization. I recommend documenting even the basic processes and procedures that help you to be successful. It may seem like a task that slows you down. It may seem boring, and it will ultimately help you to be more efficient and more effective. Key concept number 10, presence. Be thoughtful and intentional about how you affect and influence other people. This is about personal power and responsibility. Being aware of other people's worlds and how you impact their world. Why is this helpful? Well, we can keep going on this about it forever, but why it's important is it gives you the ability, by getting into other people's world, you have greater ability to understand their world, understand what it's like, and then to be able to relate to their stories, and then to be able to tell your story in a way that they see themselves in your story, and that they connect and relate to you. That leads to what I call freedom from selling. Because when people connect with you at this type of level, and you connect with them, by getting into their world and understanding their fears and concerns, their hopes and dreams and aspirations, and then you being able to share your story about how you help people and what your solution is to their problems, it makes it natural to sell without using techniques, without manipulation, without marketing techniques and sales techniques that just make us all sick and nauseous. Okay, principle number 11, ideal client flow. Apply the rule of 6 ones. This is how this works. Choose one single audience, one lead generation channel, one client engagement approach, one client conversion system, one follow-up system, and one flagship program or product or service that you offer. And master the rule of ones before attempting to branch out and offering multiple things to multiple people. Too many people try to create too many moving parts and complication. And if you do that, it makes life harder. And it actually decreases your chances of success. Concept number 12, productivity. Focus on high impact activities. So this is where it's easy to waste a lot of time with activity but not produce results, as in productivity. And will lead to self-doubt, loss of confidence, and loss of focus. So this is why I had to bring in a project manager, because I was getting distracted and not producing results. I was getting frustrated, and I knew that I wasn't making the progress with my business and offering value to my clients that I really felt I wanted to in my heart, and that I knew I had the ability to do. So I had to find out, and I've studied productivity for a long, long time, many, many decades. And even so, I knew that I wasn't as productive as I could be. And so I hired someone she's actually a life coach, but she is very organized. And helps to keep projects on task. So Elise, are you live? She'll probably have to unmute herself. Okay, Elise, I've unmuted you. You're live.
Great. How are you?
Good. Yeah. So I wanted to introduce Elise Fee. And Elise, are you in Maryland now?
Yes.
You're in
I'm
Maryland.
right outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay. And Elise has been helping me on the Freedompreneur side for, I don't know, is it over a year now?
Probably about a year.
About a year, yeah. And so for me, I'm someone who has a bunch of ideas and is trying to do a lot of things. And one of the things Elise had to do is kind of corral me, kind of like, what do they have that at rodeos, right? And what, I showed everyone in one of the previous webinars a book called Who Will Do What When, or Who Will Do What by When. And so when Elise and I get on with our strategic meetings, we'll talk about a task that I'm supposed to do. And I'll go, oh yeah, I'll do that one, as opposed to like, oh, give this away to somebody else on the team. And invariably Elise will go, okay, by when will you get it done? And I'll go, oh yeah, I'll get it done by, Friday, 6 p.m. And I'll go, okay, great. Next. And she'll go, She'll go, okay, where is it on your calendar? And I'll go, oh yeah, I'll put it there. And she'll go, no, put it on your calendar right now. And I'll go, okay, fine. She'll wait for me to go put it on the calendar. So now, as you saw, I showed you a picture of my calendar in the previous webinar, and this is what it takes. Is this rocket science, Elise, to go, okay, I'm going to do it by when, and then put it in your calendar for when you're going to do it, right? It's not rocket surgery, not rocket science. But for me, do I complain about it?
When you always know it's coming, but you still don't anticipate it, which is kind of funny.
I do, yeah. So it's kind of me being a little kid, which I allow myself my dalliances like that. But the point is, I'm kind of poking fun at myself because this is a simple practice and habit. Remember, break things down into small steps. Take consistent action. That's what it takes. We had to boil things down to a very elementary level. And I wasn't able to do this by myself. It seems silly, right? Hopefully a lot of you will be able to do this on your own. But if not, then you have to hire somebody or have a committed friend, business partner do this, help you do this. I just knew I wasn't able to get it done by myself. How did I know that? Well, I knew it wasn't an intellectual issue, okay? But I knew I was just spinning wheels. So I said, okay, if I'm not able to handle it myself, it doesn't mean I'm an idiot or incompetent or incapable. It just means I need some support. No shame in that. Get the help you need. Right? And it's as simple as finding somebody like Elise who sees the bigger picture. She understands the detail that needs to happen, and she understands the emotions involved that get us tripped up. Right? Because from time to time, Elise has to turn on her life coach hat and talk through some of these things. More than once, right, Elise? Yeah.
I'm not going to tell your secrets.
But not as much as your other clients, hopefully, right?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, so that's one piece. And Elise, we're going to talk more about mindset in a moment because that's coming up. All right?
Okay.
Principle 13, make course corrections. So you have to track and measure your results. You can't just run a campaign and then go, oh, Elise, that was good. We did well. Pat each other on the back, right? That doesn't work. You need to understand things like, okay, how many people came to the web page? What percentage clicked on the link and signed up? Of the people who signed up, how many and what percentage showed up? Of the percentage who showed up, how many and what percentage went on to the next step? And so forth. Okay? If you're you need to track how many clients you have, what kind of revenue you're bringing in, over what time period, where are they coming from. But most people don't think about writing down any of their results. Why? They're too busy, or they think they're too creative to do this, or it's too boring, or I don't do math. Right? We're not talking about difficult math. We're talking about a very basic best practice. Next key concept, inner game of success. This is Elise's specialty. Expanding your thinking and boosting your self-confidence. So I can give you all the mechanics in the world. In fact, on this infographic, this document that you have in front of you, you have all the key steps. Like, I mean this. If you focus on these 16 key steps, and I get there's a lot of detail within each step, but if you focus on these 16 key steps and you embrace these 16 key concepts, that's all you need. Everything else you can ignore. I mean that. Everything else you can ignore. How do I know that? Because I didn't have nearly the resources that everybody on this webinar and listening to the recording has when I started out in 2005. How do I know this? Because back then it was more difficult to create a website. There was no social media. It was more difficult to create a blog. It was just harder to do stuff. So, and I was running out of time and money, and I didn't have the resources. There was no like Fiverr to hire people for $5 to help them, get them to help you do stuff. I don't think even Odesk or Elance or those sites where you can get low cost help. I don't think those were around back then, as I recall. So it's actually even easier to get going and to be successful, but it's also easier to get distracted because there are a lot more tools available. Elise, anything you want to say about the inner game of success?
Absolutely. I think that anyone who's an entrepreneur knows that there's parts of the business that they love and that inspire them and get them energized. And then there's the parts, like for you, George, the details and doing all the little technology things and tracking all of that stuff that drains you and that you don't look forward to and that just kind of sucks the life out of you. And so when you're following this approach that you've set out, until you get to where you've got support people, you've got to do everything. So how do you keep your right mindset, and how do you keep yourself, in that right space mentally and emotionally and energetically? And that's what I help people with, is finding out what their blocks are mentally and emotionally, and then going in and changing those and shifting them. So for some people, it might be a sense of unworthiness, or it might be a belief that was drilled into them at a young age that, it takes hard work to succeed, and you have to work long and you have to work hard in order to earn or deserve to earn a certain amount of money. And so we help them shift that mindset. And everybody's got some kind of a block or some kind of an area that could flow more smoothly and that could support them more fully rather than holding them back. And so that's one of the ways that I help people, is with that inner game. Those last few numbers on there, 14, 15, and 16, are the areas that I would help people focus on and make tremendously fast and powerful shifts in their beliefs and their mindset.
One of the things I wanted to say about that, Elise, is that I've listed the 16 key concepts and key steps. There are mechanics to actually put this into action, but if you don't have the mindset, the attitude, the belief, if you don't build your beliefs, if you don't change the neuronal pathways for what you believe in, how you think, how you feel, how you make decisions, and how you respond, the mechanics will not matter. You just be going through the motions. They won't,
because what will happen is, as most people have experienced, you'll procrastinate, you'll self-sabotage, you'll find anything else to do. You'll get your laundry done and you'll repaint your place rather than doing that one project for your business because you don't want to. You've got some block to doing it. And once we can shift your mindset, then it becomes more enjoyable and you're able to find other resources. Like you may say, what? I don't want to do my books, and I'm going to make enough money to pay someone to do my books. And then you get inspired because, wow, that would be so fun if I didn't have to do the books myself. So then it becomes a motivator rather than a detractor. And so there's just lots of things that we've been taught, belief systems, whether it came from culture or our family of origin or our community or even from religion or anywhere. We get belief systems from a lot of different places, and they go into our subconscious, and then we don't ever go in and edit them, and we just haven't been taught how. And it's really simple to do. And so I help people go in and figure out what's not working and then just change it to what they want it to be to support them as they move forward. And it just makes it's like freeing. It's like opening the gates, and then things flow.
I like that, freeing, free as in freedompreneur. So,
I mean, think about it, George. When you figured out some of the shifts you've made, like where you say, you know what, technology snafus are driving me crazy, and then you find someone to take care of that for you.
yep.
And now you don't have to deal with it. Think of how much freer your energy feels to do the big picture, more fun stuff.
Yep. Well, that reminds me. So, so a little advance notice here. There was, as in past tense, there was a program that we were going to offer at the end of this webinar series. We're not going to offer it. And Elisa and I will talk about this more later, but you know why? Because of my mindset and how I felt about it intuitively. I just didn't have energy for it. It looked good on paper. I think it would help a lot of people. We've run the program before. And I just said, I told Elise, I said, I'm not there. It's not where my energy is. It's not what I'm excited and passionate about. And if we tried to run that program, I wouldn't feel very good about it. My self-confidence would be in the clinker or the clunker, whatever it is. It'd be in the basement. It'd be in the toilet.
Well, and that is the biggest gift of being an entrepreneur, is that you get to be in charge of what you do. You don't have a boss telling you have to do this.
Yeah. Let's go to concept 15, natural selling. So, Elise, you and I have talked about this before. A lot of people are allergic to selling. They're allergic to marketing. And I think it's because they don't really understand what selling really is.
Yeah, I think if we can just stop using the word selling, and basically you can talk about, I mean, it's clearly selling, but when you believe in something and when you feel really excited about something and you're talking to friends about it at a gathering or a party, that doesn't feel like selling. You're just telling them about this great experience you had at a restaurant or at a furniture store or on a vacation, and you're all excited about it and your energy's behind it and you're just glowing and talking, and they're all excited and they buy into it and say, well, I want to go to that resort. That sounds great. What's the name of that? Or I want to read that book. Tell me the name of that book. That's selling. Even though you're not trying to get them to buy something, you are selling because you're excited and you believe in something and you're sharing that belief.
Yeah.
And really, when it comes down to it, as entrepreneurs, that's what we want. And that's why, knowing your compelling why is so critical, because if you know your compelling why and if you understand your audience, then it's really easy to get excited and talk about what you're doing. And when you're talking to the right audience, they're going to get excited too. And it doesn't feel like selling at all.
Exactly. So there's a program that I train people in, and it through various kind of iterations, it's called Get Paid to Get High-End Clients. And will get rebranded as Freedom from Selling. I think it'll get rebranded. We've been working on rebranding it. So I'm just kind of curious, for those of you who are live on the webinar, what would attract your attention more? If you were going to go into a training program or buy a self-guided program, which would be more attractive? Get paid to get high-end clients or freedom from selling? Just type it into the chat box. I mean this. I just like to get a feel from people other than ourselves, like our team, about what would be more compelling as a title. So the options are get paid to get high-end clients, which is what the current program is, that I train people in, or freedom from selling. In fact, we could do it another way. If you don't want to type in the chat box, we can do, okay, raise your hand if freedom from selling is, actually, no. Okay, now I was missing the chat box. So Ernest says freedom from selling. Okay, let's take a quick mini poll. Raise your hand in the dashboard if freedom from selling is more attractive than get paid to get high-end clients. Oh, another vote from Pamela for freedom from selling. hand raised. Okay, so let's go a different way. I'm going to lower everybody's hands and tell me if get paid to get high-end clients, if that is a more attractive title, raise your hand for that one. Because if we have a tie, what we could do is blend both titles together. Freedom from selling, the fastest way to get paid to get high-end clients. That might work. I don't know. Any votes for get paid to get high-end clients? I'm not seeing any votes or comments for that. So at least it could be that freedom from selling is the winner, at least with this group.
It's very appealing because most people don't like the concept of selling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is good. Thanks for those of you who voted. And Pamela's saying maybe delete the high-end part. Yeah, that's possible. We inserted that as a carrot at the end. Oh, Jan says she did raise her hand for get paid. Oh, get paid to get clients. Yeah, that would work. Okay, so now we've got a tie. Uh-oh. Now what do? We'll have to do a tiebreaker later on somehow. Well, the good news is I do have both domains. Okay, let's go on. So key concept number 16. Perseverance. Know when to press on, know when to fall back. So Elise, there are people, there's one thing to be said for persistence, and there's another thing for not to be said for insistence. So persistence is you've got the mindset, you've got the fortitude to keep going, right? But what happens if you've got this belief that like, I'm going to win at all costs. Failure is not an option. I'm just going to keep going and work harder and harder. Well,
it can create a lot of suffering.
Yeah, that's right. it can. So if you persist, even if you're headed in the wrong direction, that's what we call insistence. Insistence that you're right, even if evidence tells you otherwise. So this requires a mindset shift. It requires an expansion of your mindset, and it requires seeing your blind spots. So you can't do anything about your blind spots until you can see them. The problem is we have blind spots because we can't see them for ourselves. So this is where there's a lot of gold, is being able to see your blind spots, having someone help you to see your blind spots, and then doing something about it. Most people don't know this, but when I started in 2005, people think, yeah, the guy was a plastic surgeon. It was all easy for him. Piece of cake. No, was not. I did not learn about business by being trained in it from being a doctor. We didn't learn a single piece about medicine or about the business side of medicine. That's why I got into trouble quickly. But I had to learn things. My whole point of saying this is that most people don't realize that I actually had two coaches when I started out in 2005. Had one coach who was dedicated to the mindset, talked a little bit about strategy, but his specialty, mindset. Then I had a different coach whose specialty was strategy. He didn't do anything with mindset. Ideally, could you have a coach that does both? Sure. But at a certain point, sometimes you need one more than the other. That's why sometimes when I'm working with clients, Elise will help, or work in collaboration with another coach. Because I do mindset to a certain degree, but to go deeper than that, then you need somebody with Elise's expertise. Okay.
Well,
now,
George, you talked about how you canceled the follow-up program that you were going to offer. So what can participants do if they want to, learn how to put these into practice and learn how to shift their mindset?
Oh, well, good question. So, I think that, and I'm bringing up the steps to rapid revenue acceleration again because I want to talk about it. What I think we'll do is I want to walk people through the first 7 steps of rapid revenue acceleration and then choose one of them and show them how to apply what we've gone through in the past 2 webinars in terms of the steps of creating change. And then we will share with people what to actually do, practically speaking, if they're looking for assistance. Basically, what it's going to be is you can schedule a brief conversation with Elise and I. There's no, and we'll talk about where you are, what your goals are, where you're headed, and what's the next step for you. What truly is the next step for you to move in the direction of rapid revenue acceleration. And I'll tell you, I will tell you, in fact, I'm going to share with you something I shared last time that I wasn't expecting I was going to share last time, but now I've thought about it more, I've meditated on it more, intuited on it more, and I'm going to share with you what I think is a powerful next step for a lot of people. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people. So stay tuned, okay? Let's go through these. I'm going to go through the first, say, 7 steps of rapid revenue acceleration, the foundational steps. So step number 1, we've already done. It's go through the key concepts of rapid revenue acceleration. Do I recommend you review them? Yes, go through the document that you have and review them and see how you're applying them in your own business and your own life. And then step number 2 is to craft a compelling story. So, one of the key concepts is to create a compelling why. And so your compelling story includes your compelling why. Your compelling story is truly a story about who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, who you serve, and why you do the work that you do. As I said earlier, your potential clients and your clients must be able to see themselves in your story. They must be able to relate to your values, your beliefs, your philosophy, your approach, your style, and align with, and be the type of person who allows you to fulfill on your personal vision and your personal vision, your personal mission and your vision for your business. You can't fulfill on your vision if you're not working with people who are the best fit for working with you. Which actually leapfrogs us to step 5, which is identifying step 6, which is identifying your buyer profile. In other words, what's your ideal client criteria? How do you identify? If someone said, well, who's the best type of client for you ideally, you want to be able to rattle those things off. For example, for me, the best clients are service-dedicated entrepreneurs who have a big heart, meaning they're generous, they share, they contribute, they collaborate with others, they play well with others, and they have a vision that's bigger than themselves. So it's not about them and their Maserati and their 3-car garage and their house in the schwanky neighborhood and the house on the beach and traveling all the time. I'm not against those things, but and in addition to that, they really want to help other people. They're really here to make a difference that's meaningful and to make a difference with impact that's bigger than anything they can do single-handedly. That's the type of client I work with. Do I come across people who don't fit that? Occasionally, but very rarely these days because my system filters them out very, very early on. You want to have that level of clarity so your system, your website, what you say, how you conduct business, how you carry yourself out in public, filters those people out. They will not be attracted by you. They will be repelled by you, which is a good thing. Okay, step 3, select your primary business model. So your business model could be a coaching model. It could be a consulting model, as in helping people to get the work done. The coaching model is you're providing advice only. You could have a training model. You could have a information product only model. There are people out there who don't do any trainings, and all they do is create ebooks and trainings that go with the ebooks, and they're doing very, very well. I know somebody who is doing over $250,000 in revenue last year just with information products alone. And three information products, not multiple like a bajillion, but 3. Okay? All right. Step 4, identify client benefits. So this is, what does a client get? What are the specific results, improvements, and outcomes and experiences that clients get from working with you or using your products or services? What are the specific results, improvements, outcomes, and experiences that clients, customers, and patients get from working with you or using your products and services? List those out. And then for each benefit, Ask the question, what's so great about that? And then start listing more benefits in response to that question. And then keep asking that question for each sub-benefit that you come up with until you've exhausted the benefits. When you can do that, that gives you greater ability to get into their world and to speak their language and to speak and write about things that will attract these types of clients. This leads us to step 5, which is to articulate your unique value of promise. Your unique value promise. In other words, what are the specific results, improvements, outcomes, and experiences that you produce for people? For me, my unique value is greater freedom, lasting contribution, and an expanded experience of what prosperity really means, which I call perpetual prosperity. Another part of my unique value is helping clients rapidly accelerate their reach and revenue so they make more money in record time. And with another business that I have with a business partner, we called Smart Business Money Habits, we help them to keep more of what they make. So you want to be able in your business to articulate what is unique about what is unique about the value that you offer. Now, I know that you may not have all this worked out already, and these are the areas on your next, your growth curve. This is how you bridge the gap between your current reality and your desired reality, which is to push the envelope of how you articulate and how you work through these steps. Will you get confronted? Yes. Will you run into an identity crisis? Yes, because this is all about a reinvention process. This is a reinvention of yourself personally and a reinvention of your business. And that's why the mindset work runs hand in hand with doing the mechanical work. Elise, anything you want to say about that?
No, I think you've covered it, and it's good for you to walk through and explain that to everybody.
Yeah. Let's go to step 7. So define your basic signature system. So your signature system is a line-by-line description of your approach to working with clients. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's about 5 to 10, maybe 12 elements. These are the phases or stages that we go through. These are the steps that we take. That's what I call a signature system. Now, people are not going to buy from you or work from you based on your signature system. They're going to buy based on their emotional alignment with you. But they need to know you have an approach so it can satisfy the intellectual curiosity. And so they can better rationalize their emotional buying decision. Okay, now let's take one of these concepts. Let's take, Elise, what do you think? What steps should we take? We're going to run them through the system that we use, the 4 steps.
Well, why don't you pick?
Okay.
This is your bag of tricks here,
okay.
So why don't you lead
All right.
us?
Okay, let's do compelling story. All right. Because that's number 2 on the list, right? So let's go. So if you look at, you're going to craft your compelling story. And so if we go, let's move out of this map. Oh, that's, okay, I wanted to go, hang on. We want to go to our steps. Here they are. Okay. So you pick revenue goals that are meaningful, right? So let's say and there are more sophisticated ways to set up rapid revenue acceleration goals than we have time to go into. But let's say your goal is to create a 6-figure revenue stream or increase your revenue by 6 figures in the next 12 months. All right. So then with that in mind, why do I have to bother with creating a compelling story? Well, if you don't have a compelling story, who's going to buy from you? Okay. And remember in 2005, I had no website, no business cards, no real business cards, no referral sources, no blog, no social media. Better yet, no clients had ever paid me a single dime or penny for business advice. So you might say on paper, I was set for success, right? Bzz, not. And yet, within 73 days of scheduling my first workshop, 43 days after producing the workshop, delivering the workshop, I had enough clients that I was bringing in $10,500 a month. Okay? So, my point is that, well, there are a number of points I can make, but one of the points is that you don't have to have all these moving parts. Keep it simple. Okay? And what did I have that made all the difference? I knew how to tell a compelling story that integrated my entire life's experience, from being a nationally ranked tennis player to my journey becoming a plastic surgeon, my struggles on the business side of and financial side of medicine, to what I had studied in terms of marketing and selling. And I was able to tell a compelling enough story that I got enough clients to bring in $10,500 a month in the spring of 2005. In spite of the economic downturn, I've grown my revenue. I've maintained a 6-figure revenue stream, never dipped below. And why? Because I knew how to tell a story. How did I get taught that? I don't know. I kind of learned along the way. And partly because in medicine, we do learn to tell stories. It's just not advertised that way. We learn how to put together pieces of a person's story, a patient's story. And that's what you want to learn to do, is to put together the story of your clients and customers and patients. Because when you understand their story, they get that you get their story, then you have a match, you have alignment, and you have a greater chance of serving them. Okay, so back to picking, let's say you picked the rapid revenue acceleration goal, 6-figure revenue stream increase in a year. Then you're going to break that down into smaller steps, right? In this case, you have a compelling story to create. We're going to break that down to even smaller steps, and you'll take action on these steps, and then you'll get support, right? Okay, so you're going to create visual goals that matter. So you would take this template, which you can download from Patty Dabrowski's website. Just Google her or do an internet search for Patty Dabrowski visual winning solutions. Okay, and then you can get her template, and you'll put down current reality, whatever your current reality is, and then your new desired reality is fantastic, exceptional, high-end, high-paying clients, or the best clients, more and better clients. Okay, so you create your map. Doesn't have to be as fancy as mine. And in this case, you're going to work on your compelling story, right? So you break down, you're already breaking down rapid revenue acceleration into the steps that I've given you, the 16 steps, and you're going to break it down further. Because what are the steps for creating your compelling story? Well, one of them would be, write down some bullet points. Use a mind map like I showed you last time. Create a mind map. Put notes into Evernote or OneNote. And put down ideas, themes. Write down your life's experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly. Write down bullet points about what your journey was. Who were your heroes? What were the forces that shaped you? Who were your role models? Who were your anti-role models? What are things that you're really good at, that you know you're good at? What are things that you're really good at that you don't tell yourself you're good at, but other people say you're good at? What are the things that you know in your heart you just can't help? You can't help yourself from helping other people. Those are the elements of a compelling story. Tell us about who you're here to serve and why it means so much to you to serve these people. Share your heart with others. Share your passion. Share your convictions. Share your idiosyncrasies. Share the things that bug the heck out of you. Like for me, what bugs the heck out of me is people selling blueprints and formulas. And they have their appropriate place. I get that. I respect that. I honor that. And if you're going to have a blueprint and formula that you're going to sell, you have to support people in customizing that blueprint or formula to their particular style, their mindset, their beliefs, their thinking, their decision-making, and how they take action. That's where my beef comes in. You can't just sell a formula or a blueprint or a step-by-step and just leave. Go, good luck, bye, thanks for your $2,500, thanks for your $5,000. That bugs me. Sorry, I got on a little diatribe there. Okay, so that's how you break down your compelling story into smaller steps. Each of those elements I just rattled off could be a small step. You could just write out one of those areas or write down bullet points for those areas or write down sentences and paragraphs. And do that once a day. Put in your calendar once a day. That's how you take consistent action. And thanks, Jan, you agree. This one-size-fits-all approach makes me crazy. Yes! Jan and I are card-carrying members of the one-size-fits-all approach makes me crazy. When I tell my wife about it, she says, just knock it off. You think you're right all the time. And I go, well, not all the time, but most of the time, and I'm right about this. So we poke fun. She pokes fun at me. And I can take it. Okay, so take consistent action. So how can you take consistent action if you got to create a compelling story? Even if you say to yourself, well, at least, I'm not a writer, I'm not very good, and blah, 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 whatever, well, do what Elise forces me to do. Break down into steps and put it in your calendar. And there's sometimes where Elise has seen me do this, where I'll schedule a block out for an hour. Sometimes an hour and a half. And then we'll come back to a call and she'll go, okay, did that get done? And I'll go, no, it didn't get done. And then I'll say, okay, fine. I've tried that for 2 weeks. Okay, I'm putting it for sure. This time I'm going to make a 15-minute block. 15-minute block. So 15-minute block, I can suffer for 15 minutes. Right? And, this is not really, these are luxury problems, by the way, right? These are luxury problems we have to work with. And because nobody's life is in jeopardy, we're not in jeopardy, our limbs are not in jeopardy. If I don't get it done, nobody's going to die or get sick, right? But if I don't get something done, then the business suffers and I'm not contributing to someone else, to someone else's life, the way that I'm capable of. Okay? So I'll just break it down into smaller steps. 15 minutes. I can do it. I can get it done. I recommend you do that, whether it's a paper calendar or Google Calendar or Outlook, whatever calendar you have, write it down. So write down who's going to do it, if you're going to do it, or if you're going to delegate it, and by when will it get completed, and when will you get it done. Sometimes you won't get it done in one session. Great. Do more than one session. Do more than one. Okay? Then surround yourself with support. Okay, so what kind of support would you need to get your compelling story done? For some people, they need a writing partner. For some people, they need an editor or someone who can take their raw material and turn it into prose. Okay, turn it into a narrative. Okay, great, fine, do that. Maybe you need somebody who could interview you, ask you questions, and record that material, and then get it transcribed. Then you have the raw material. Maybe you need a friend to ask you those questions. Maybe you need a professional interviewer. Okay, that's the kind of support you could get. Okay, so this is how we create content quickly at Freedompreneur. Get on the phone, and it could be Elise or I on the phone just yammering, or it could just be me talking into my microphone, to my recorder. Okay, then that material gets recorded, gets transcribed, the transcription comes back, and then either I will go through it again or one of my writers will go through it again, and then turn it into a narrative. And then eventually it'll come back to me for my, 2 cents, and then it'll go back to the editor, and then it'll come back for my blessing on it, and then it'll go back to the editor for final draft, and then it gets published somewhere, or it goes to the graphic designer, turns into an ebook, or turns into a blog post, turns into a web page. So through all of this, I'm not doing it by myself, because when I tried to do this myself, a lot of stuff did not get done. And now with the support of the right people, more stuff gets done, and it gets done faster. And I have the confidence that I'm not having to do everything, and that I can actually focus on what I'm best at, which is the strategy part, which is creating the raw content. But do I have to be bogged down with finishing off the details? Sometimes I like to because it helps me with my creative process, but a lot of times it's just not the right thing for me to do. So then we have to have people we can hand off to who can do technical things like the websites, like what else, Elise? Like sending out emails, right?
Yeah. The different email service systems like Infusionsoft and there's client relationship management systems and all kinds of different programs that people have to understand that you don't need to understand.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So that's how you would take one step on the Rapid Revenue Acceleration Flight Plan and apply the approach that we've been talking about for the last 3 webinars. Now, back to Elise's comment. If you know that you're ready to take action, and what we've talked about during the last 3 webinars has made sense, and you're still wondering, great, now how do I apply all this? I get the theory, I get the concept, now I want to apply it. I can test out some of these tools, these strategies and best practices, and I want to feel confident that I'm doing things using the right tools for my situation and that I have the greatest chance of succeeding. All right? If that's the case, then I would have recommended the program we were going to offer. But when I got up today, I got in touch with Elise and we have another project manager as well. And I said, you know what? We're not offering that. I don't have the juice for it. And so I would have recommended that program, but since we're not offering it, I can't offer that. But I can tell you about something else. This is where I really have juice. A live, hands-on program. The Rapid Revenue Acceleration Experience. So what it is, before I tell you what it is, let me tell you one of my pet peeves. And Jan, I think you can probably relate to this. So you go to a workshop or a seminar, and they're not really workshops because what they're doing is they're doing information dumping. And you have one or more speakers, and some of the speakers are there to pitch you on something, right? But they're giving you some valuable information, and they give you a pitch at the end so you can buy their next $2,500 program or more, and then you go and buy that. Okay, so by the end of a 3-day workshop, you've spent $7,500 and you've bought 3 other people's programs. Okay? So you come back and you've essentially become an information junkie and an information collector. And out of 3 programs, which are quite intensive, and I'm not saying they're not high quality, they probably are high quality, but when are you going to learn all that? And then how are you going to learn how to apply all that? And how long is it going to take for you to apply all that? And the answer is, you're not likely to get through all the material, and even if you do, it's going to take you quite a while to apply it, because it's going to take some testing. So instead of that, I would rather know less and implement more, rather than have a ton of information in your head, in your notes, in your digital device, and on your shelf and on your computer, with not much implementation. So what this Rapid Revenue Acceleration program is 20% information, 80% implementation. And I mean implementation from the mechanics and logistics, but also implementation from your true passion, from your heart, tapping into both your intellect and your intuitive powers, your inner guidance system. So as I mentioned, who this is for service-dedicated entrepreneurs. You know that in your heart you have something valuable to offer. In fact, you feel the sting, the pain in your heart because you want to share that so much with people. You feel the tingling in your eyes as you're about to tear up because you can feel how much passion you have for the work and how much empathy you have for the people that you're here to serve. You know you're ready. You're hungry. You're ready to create a true quantum breakthrough in your business. Not just in revenue, because the way to accelerate your revenue quickly is not to focus on the money. It's to focus on providing exceptional, extraordinary value. Once you create value, if you've got the right business models, then the revenue follows. This is for you if you're ready to do that kind of work. This is not an intellectual decision. This is an intuitive inner guidance system decision. You feel whether this is for you or not. So how does this work? How it works is, well, if you're not from the Seattle area, you hop on a plane. And you look for Mount Rainier as you circle around, landing at SeaTac Airport. That's Mount Rainier in the distance. It's kind of fun to see that mountain when you're flying in. Okay, so if you're not from the area, you fly in. You're from the area. If you're from the area, you drive over to the hotel. But if you're landing at SeaTac, you hop on a limo, you get delivered to the hotel, and this is where we're going to spend our time for 3.5 days in the boardroom. And like I said, 20% information, 80% implementation. So we're going to be focused. Elise and I will be there. We're going to be focused on how do you implement the material. So if you're working on, and you'll have a plan, we'll help you put together a game plan. So you'll know by the time you arrive, what are you going to focus on? All right? So that you avoid what Jan just commented about. She said, this is always my pet peeve with many learning opportunities. They create more confusion and fear, and often, at least in her case, actually discourage action taking via analysis paralysis. Yes, Jan, you've renewed your card carrying status. This is my frustration. A learning opportunity is not really a learning opportunity until you take the theory and apply it in the real world. Theory is not learning. Application in the real world, understanding how to take the principles, the theoretical principles and best practices and producing results in the world, that's where you learn things. Because theory doesn't always work in the real world. So we're going to apply. And we'll disperse from the boardroom that you see on screen here to various areas of the hotel. This is the library. And these are the other parts of the hotel in the lobby and the restaurant. And we'll be doing work in all of these areas, either individually, with a partner, or in small groups. And Elise and I will be helping people out, individually and in groups, to work through specific material. If you're stuck, for instance, on your compelling story, I'm going to get you unstuck in about 7 minutes. And in some cases, I'll turn on your phone so you can record it, and I will rattle off, based on your raw material, I will rattle off your compelling story. So this is what the hotel looks like if you're staying in their guest rooms. And what we'll work on. Here's some examples of what you could be working on. So you've seen the Rapid Revenue Acceleration Flight Plan. And these are some of the things you might work on. Your compelling story, your bio as a story, web copy, your lead magnet. So a lead magnet is like an article or email course or a freebie that people get off your website if they sign up for your email list. You might create your email mini course at this program. You could set up an affiliate promotion because there are a lot of steps to that. You have to create a promotional packet. You have to have an engaging letter or conversation with people to promote you. You might set up a more effective lead generation campaign. You might practice having enrolling conversations, freedom from selling conversations. So I'll be there, of course, helping you with coaching. Elise is going to be available for mindset makeovers. If you need help with project planning, like setting up a project management system, developing the habits to use that, Elise can help with that, and so can our project planner, our main project planner, Kim. And we have available she calls herself a kick-ass branding expert. That's her name, Kick-Ass Branding. Carrie Ann, she's from the UK. And if necessary, we will have you professionally interviewed by Wayne Kelly, who is a buddy of mine in Canada, who's an entrepreneur who also happens to be a Drive Time radio show host. We have a number of different graphic designers available and writers and copywriters. If we can help you with a bio makeover. For those of you who find it worthwhile, we can get headshots done by a local Seattle photographer who does my headshots. She's fun, she's quirky, she's amazing. You'll never know you're getting your pictures taken because she's having a conversation with you about you telling your story or answering questions, and by the time you know it, she's done. It's really cool. We will help you to set up a workflow system for you, not only during the work session, but for when you go home and life starts lifing. If you need technical help, we'll help you with that. Or someone on the team will help you with that. One thing I recommend you set up is Google Apps for Work, which is an email system. You can try to set it up yourself, but others can help set it up for you. It's only $5 a month. It's the most reliable email system I've ever used. If your website goes down, frequently your email goes down with it. But if you've got a separate email system, the Google servers have been incredibly reliable. You may need some graphic design help. We can provide that for you. If you need e-commerce setup help, we can help you with that technical side as well. So this is really implementation at its finest. This is a kind of program that I wish I could participate myself instead of running the thing. Okay, so what you're going to leave with? Really, I would. We used to run this virtually, and Elise participated in some of these virtually. Elise, a long time ago, used to do these things with us. And I would say to people, like, I want to be a participant in this, but I couldn't because I was facilitating. So when you leave, you're going to have clarity on what to focus on, being at ease with what you need to ignore, because that can be very intimidating. Like, oh, you mean I can't do this? You mean I shouldn't focus on Pinterest? No, let's get a 6-figure revenue stream going first. Then you can kind of hit Pinterest as a hobby. Okay. So you'll be able to create truly a quantum leap from where you are now to where you want to be by having a clear game plan. You'll have the foundational elements in place or be making serious progress into getting these into place. And you'll know what those foundational elements are. And you'll have far better chance, and you'll have a lot more freedom and a lot more fun and a lot more power to express yourself and turn those foundational elements and turn your gifts and talents into meaningful results. So when you get back home, we will support you as well with 2 months of follow-through coaching, real-world implementation, refinements and course corrections, because we don't anticipate that everything you do in the live portion of this is going to be sticking. You have to go test it. And you must develop new habits. And habits take reinforcement. They take reminders. If you're going to set new goals, I mentioned this before, if you're going to set new goals, you got to ditch the old habits. Otherwise, you'll keep getting what you got. Pricing.
And
yeah,
George,
ahead,
I'd like to jump in here for
Yeah.
a second. One of the things that we're going to do at this experience is I'll be there working with people on their mindset shifts.
Yeah.
And so we'll have work implementation times where you're going to be, and I'll be there helping people, but we also are going to have times where I pull people out and work one-on-one
Yeah.
On their unique issues to help them make that shift. So not only are they going to have work done when they leave, but they're also going to have that open, free-flowing in their mindset as well.
Yep, exactly. Thank you for adding that in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so this is, with all the resources we need to bring in, some of the people will be working with you virtually from site. This is like, I've done the spreadsheets. I tried to get it down in pricing, couldn't really do it. The lowest we could get, if you count all the people involved and the hotel and so forth, is just around $10,000. My spreadsheet actually shows it to be about a $25,000 program. But we're going to try to pull it off at $10,000 per person. Well, we're not going to charge you. We're not going to ask you to pay $10,000. If you heard me before, we're going to do results in advance pricing. So you're not paying $10,000. No, at least not up front. And at least I made up a new pricing scheme, which I've never done before. This is what it looks like. You will pay a deposit of almost $1,500. This is for and it depends on the size. So the pricing is linked to results. The pricing is linked to results. And that's why you're not paying $10,000. You're paying just a deposit of $1,500. But the pricing is also linked to the number of participants that we have. Why? Because up to a certain point, the more participants we have, the greater mastermind capacity we have, the greater energy we have for contribution and collaboration. Okay? So if we have in the end, and this program is going to run, let me get my calendar. The live portion of this event is, my calendar flipping around, scheduled for starting March 5th. Starting March 5th. Running through March 7th. So that's a Thursday through Saturday. And if we have 8 to 10 participants for that, each participant will pay $14.97 as their deposit. You do not pay anything else. You pay the balance of the tuition upon achieving a 6-figure annualized revenue increase. Revenue increase. That means increasing your revenue by at least $8,333 a month for 6 consecutive months. I'm not interested in a 1-month blip. I'm interested in sustainability. Okay? So in other words, you don't pay us the balance of the, what would that be, Elise? $7,500? You don't pay that until you reach a sustained 6-figure revenue stream. You're just paying the $1,500. Okay. Now, if you have a friend you want to refer in, and that increases our numbers, or for whatever reason we have more people, we can accommodate, we believe, up to 18 people. So if we have 11 to 18 qualified participants, your deposit goes down to just under $1,000, $997. Why do we have the crazy pricing? Well, the first part of the craziness is we want implementation. Implementation. And that's why you're paying for getting results in advance. Okay, that's why you're only putting down a deposit. This is not intended to be to turn a massive profit. This is a rapid revenue. Think of this as a rapid revenue acceleration experiment. You're experimenting with applying this to your business, and we're offering this in a live format. We've only offered this in a virtual format before. Now we're offering it live. So for us, we're testing as well. That's why we have this unique pricing model. Does it make sense? No, on paper, if you spreadsheet this out, it doesn't make sense, because if you get to the 11th participant, we're actually bringing in less revenue. And that's on purpose. Because ultimately, if we have more participants, up to 18, everybody wins. So this has to be a win for everyone. And the biggest win is that you learn how to implement, not just during this program, but for the rest of your life. Remember, information is interesting. Implementation means everything. Because we changed this offering at the last minute. Okay, let me tell you what we were going to offer. We were going to offer a virtual program. A rapid revenue acceleration intensive. We've offered this before. I was going to take you through virtually through GoToWebinar in detail all 16 steps, or at least the first 7 steps of rapid revenue acceleration. I was going to do that. And we were going to have virtual workdays, which we've done before. And I woke up this morning, I said, no, don't feel the juice. I don't feel the mojo for this. I want to do a live event because I think Elise and I can make the greatest impact if we're working with you live. There's a place for virtual. I get it. There's some people in Europe who may not be able to participate in this program. And for where I am right now, my inner guidance system says go live. Even though it's more complicated, more logistics, more risk for us in terms of the logistics and putting it together and but potential for losing money. But I feel energetically this is what I must do. Okay, so because of that, we don't have a fancy sign-up form for you. So if you're interested in this, all you need to do is send an email to support@freedompreneur.com. Support@freedompreneur.com. And then we will schedule a time for you to have a conversation with Elise and I to have an exploratory conversation. No obligation, no cost. We just want to talk about where you are and is this program a good fit for you. So it's like, it's just a discovery conversation, exploration conversation. It's part of the adventure. Okay? And if this is a good fit for you, then we'll invite you to participate in this program and you can make your deposit. Okay? And then we'll give you some prep work to do before you show up. We'll support you in doing the prep work before you show up. And then when you show up, we're going to rock and roll. You have a lot of fun, and you're going to walk away with material in place, like with foundation built. That's how this is going to work. Again, so if you're interested, send an email to support@freedompreneur.com and just say, hey, I'm in. I want to explore the Rapid Revenue Acceleration experience. All right. Elise, anything you want to add to that?
I just wish there'd been something like this when I needed it. You know, it would have been so awesome to go away for a couple of days and know what I was going to work on, get all or most of it done, and then shift my mindset at the same time. And when I come home, you know, to have all that completed would just feel incredible.
Yep.
Would just be amazing. And it's so different than, you know, the typical seminar where you go away and you get all excited and then you come home and you don't implement.
Yep.
This is the opposite. This is, you know, get excited, take your goals with you, and then we're going to actually implement and shift your mindset.
Exactly. I mean, I agree with you. This is a program I wish I'd had. I wish I could participate in this program because at least you and I know we have a bunch of stuff that we're working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something, I think if you've heard me write about this or speak about this before, this has been one of my ongoing complaints for the past few years about workshops and seminars that I've personally attended myself as a participant. I get up and leave and I go, God, I wish I could stick around with all these cool people I've met and just work on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's how this program that's the genesis of this program. That's where it came from. My own experience of like, now I have to go home and figure out how to wedge this into my already busy schedule. And a lot of times it doesn't happen. Right. Any questions that anybody has? We'll be happy to field any questions. If you want to save those questions for your private conversation with us, that's fine too. But if there are any questions about the material or this Rapid Revenue Acceleration Experience program, feel free to type them in to the chat box. Or if it's easier to raise your hand, we can unmute you as well. So Jan says, yeah, it's awesome you're following your intuition. As I look at revamping my business, one of the pieces I don't want to lose is in-person / live coaching experiences. The growth is always exponential versus virtual. Yeah, I agree. With the application and implementation, the results will be unbounded. Yeah, I agree. We'll have to plagiarize that for our marketing material, Jan.
It sounds great. She really gets the benefit of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to do it. I wrote up copy. Jan says, help yourself. Thank you, we will. I wrote up copy for a program that was similar to this about 3 years ago. It was, 2012 is what the date was on the document. And I never ran it. Because I just thought, oh man, it's going to be too many logistics, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to coordinate, a lot of people and resources to coordinate. And so I just said, there are easier ways to do this. There are just easier ways. And it started eating at me because I'd go to these workshops and I'd see people racing to the back of the room to buy all these programs. And I'm thinking, okay, when are you going to implement that? I had a client who joined one of my programs. She was in 7 programs simultaneously.
Wow.
Unless you've got a team to implement that, it's not going to happen. It's not humanly possible.
Well, and the thing people need to understand is they're not going to implement everything that you've covered here. That's not going to happen in 2 or 3 days. But what they're going to do is get clear with us ahead of time. What are the few things that they really want to accomplish and get done? Yeah. And then that's what they're going to focus on at the event. And what's the mind shift that they want to have?
Yeah.
So that when they leave, they really feel like they've gotten some progress and made something happen.
Yeah, they're ready to go. Like if you're trying to build your email list, but you haven't because you don't have it set up or you don't have a compelling freebie, okay, let's get that done. If you're trying to do joint ventures where other people promote you, but you don't have the promotional packet, you don't have the swipe copy, which is the emails that you give to the promotional partners so they don't have to write it all themselves. And you need to have a list of people to contact and what do you say to contact them, and get them to join you in promoting, you're going to get that done.
Yeah, and I like that there's the follow-up afterward as well, so people can get the support afterward. And honestly, what George and I have been talking about is, wouldn't it be cool to do this every quarter in a different cool place?
Yeah.
And so we could have the same people coming all the time. It would be like your way to get away and get things done for the weekend and have all this resource and all this help and shift your mindset and then go back to work with all this under your belt.
Yep.
And you could just make it like a retreat every quarter where you get implementation done. So that's kind of what we're thinking about, that this would be really helpful. And imagine what that would do to your business if every quarter you took a 2 or 3 day, implementation retreat with us and then went back, fired up and with things done.
Oh, it'd be crazy. It'd be nuts. I wanted to call this program, the Getting Important Stuff Done experience. And eventually I vetoed myself because that wasn't sexy enough. But that's really what it is. It's getting important stuff done in your business, so you can rapidly accelerate your reach and your revenue. And Jan just wrote, "Brilliant, Elise. I was just thinking the same thing regarding quarterly."
And then what you could do is you could say, well, I'm going to arrive a day early, or I'm going to stay a day late, and you could have a vacation day in that city.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
If you haven't been to Seattle before, there's lots of things to do. There's great restaurants. There's the waterfront. The Space Needle, there's so much cool stuff. And so you could take that one day and reward yourself and say, look, I just kicked butt for 3 days. I shifted my mindset. Now I'm going to go and be a tourist for a day.
Yeah.
And every location we go to, whether it's Bali or Hawaii or Seattle, you could do that and add on and make it a combined, work and play trip.
Jane just wrote, that would work better for me later because she has an event already in March. So so you don't have to come to every single one. It's sometimes frequently not practical to come to every single one, right? So I think what we need to do is prove the concept. We have to prove that people are interested and that people will participate. Once we get them in the room, between Elise and I, you're going to get the work done. You're not leaving the room until you get the work done.
Well, we're going to have fun doing it too.
That's for sure. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on this 3-webinar series. And we'll get the recording up. So you'll have a link to all 3 recordings. So if you have somebody you want to introduce to this concept, by all means, send them to the website to listen to the replays. And, oh, great, Jan. Yeah, she goes, this might be my Christmas gift to myself. It's just what I need. Thanks, George and Elise. Absolutely. Wonderful. Great. We should be saying this. Jan, you're writing our marketing copy moving forward. This would be a great Christmas present for you or somebody you care about who's an entrepreneur.
It really is. And even if it's just telling people about it, because think about how fun that is when you can talk to a friend of yours and you can go to this together and get stuff done. And you wouldn't be working on the same thing necessarily, but you would have that experience together.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for participating today and on the last 2 webinars. I look forward to having conversations with you. Elise and I look forward to having conversations with you to explore whether this is a good fit for you and how it could work for you, how it could benefit from you. And we're going to have a lot of fun with this event. So we're hoping you can join us. Bye now. And yes, it is support@freedompreneur.com. Jan was just asking. Support@freedompreneur.com. We'll send that out through the email as well. Bye.